I hope you had a wonderful Wednesday, didn't you? How are you? Is it your first time here? My name is Eric, and this is Eric Stories. Eric Stories, if you're new, is about you and I. We try and make sense of adult conversations around issues of love, life, relationships, money, and even taboo subject matters. If you're new, please acquaint yourself with my social media handles. I am on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram. And let me know about these or previous conversations, your perspective, because I love your perspective and it helps me grow as well. I took myself out for lunch yesterday and I was sitting there, ordering. I wanted a nice, sweet meal and just to enjoy myself. And I took the time to sort of inventorize. I was thinking about my thoughts and thinking about places that I need to sort of tighten the bolt a little. And I thought about my finances. I thought about my ill nature, things I consider a struggle in terms of my relationships or my temperaments. Like I'll tell you, I'm honest. I'll tell you. I have had a challenge with. So when I'm confronted with something uncomfortable and easy, I am very happy cutting that off. And I remember my mother would put me to task about it. She'd be like, you need to try and build bridges. You're so quick on building walls. And every time I'm about to cut someone or something off, my voice rings in my mind and I'm like, Mama said I need to try and build bridges. And so I was noting that as still a challenge so that I'm not given to being overly reactive when something unpleasant happens because life is filled with many valleys. All right? And so I noted that down on my notepad. And I also was thinking about my finances and how I can improve them. I mean, you understand, better is good. And then while I was doing all of that and eating my nice salad and whatever else I was having, I remembered an article I read during the pandemic, and they were talking about the sort of workplaces millennials want to work, especially now after the pandemic. They have sort of a list of new requirements that they want. So if you're an employer, people are just not looking for jobs anymore. They're looking for jobs and other perks. So prior to this conversation, I came and dug through my notes and I found those 5 things. Things millennials want in a workplace. Real quickly, fair pay and personal meaning was one of the things they said they wanted. Gender equality and at all levels. Inclusive benefits that go beyond parenthood is another thing millennials look for in our new workplace. Flexibility post-pandemic, that means they're not very interested to come to your office at 9 to 5. They are happy to work remotely as well. And then finally, they said they need safe spaces. They didn't want to be put in a box or to be micromanaged. And I hear these all the time. I mean, I have at least 2 of my friends who've expressed to me the way they are keen on moving to a different company and they're applying hectically because those companies offer better perks and flexible working hours. You know the drill. Better again is good. So I'm not going to bore you with LinkedIn and what people are looking for in terms of employment. I was thinking about how readily we are accepting of wanting better. Like if you went back home and told your mother, for instance, you said, Mommy, you know what? I feel like I'm sort of bored with this job and my qualifications can get me a better company and I'm really interested in Google. Your mom will be like, go for it. You've always been aggressive. You got this one, the other one, and now go for it. Your dad is not going to call a baraza of elderly men to talk about you. So it's encouraged, at least in most homes, it's encouraged. If you said to your kin that you're looking to buy another car, you've driven this one for a minute and you want something different, like I know 2 of my friends who are looking to upgrade their cars by December, they'll be like, yeah, go for it, yay. In fact, that's better for rough road trips. But it becomes a different ballgame altogether when we talk about the discomforts we are facing in our intimate relationships, especially in romantic relationships. And that's what I want us to talk about. Just off of my head, I was thinking about this. I got into a long phone call with my sister the other day, and we were talking about a couple we both know who fell into a hard time. Mostly the guy did. And the woman, before that, decided to end things. And the guy said, oh, no, I cannot move out. A long drama, and her friends had to go fetch her and leave the man the house. He couldn't pay rent. He had to move away back to wherever else, God knows. And so we were talking about relationships today. And of course, there's so many dynamics that we cannot squeeze within 10 minutes of a conversation. But I just wanted to implore that maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing to want better from your significant other or in a significant other, as we often like to assume. Maybe we are all not Jesus Christ of Nazareth that we should try and carry somebody else's cross. Maybe there's another story to a relationship than difficulty and toughness and arguments and abuse and poor financial management. Just maybe perhaps. In fact, I was telling my sister in that conversation, supposing this woman, the way she has all of her money right, had a man who had all of his money right, and they both had houses and they both had cars, and nobody needed anything from one another, would we then say that they would have a better relationship? Or must relationships be looked at from the prism of difficulty and taking care of somebody else and making sure that you hold them down, and they're most of the time down? So I thought I could invite a conversation. We could continue this conversation on Friday on the live. If you've never come through on Friday at 9 p.m. But just like the millennials look for those 5 things I mentioned earlier in a new working environment so they are comfortable, including things like gender equality and inclusive benefits and safe space to work in so that a boss is not micromanaging them. Supposing, if you're in a relationship that is not so pleasant, or if you're hoping to get into one and you feel like you're starting to get a bit desperate, supposing you had a list of your requirements, nothing crazy, just something as simple as this is my list: self-knowledge and knowledge of self-worth. These are some of the things I was writing down in the restaurant yesterday. So I was thinking about myself as Eric. What value do I have to give? Apart from me being a human being with warmth and maybe testicles, what value do I give? Because we teach only what we know. So I was asking myself, Eric, what do you know to teach? What do you know to give in a would-be relationship? And then I had to fill it up. And I had to really feel truthfully about the things I didn't know. And I was asking myself, how would I show up so that I'm not a deficit, but I am an asset to the other person? How will I be an asset? What does that asset look like? So, self-knowledge and self-worth. I mean, housing a man who is going through a bind, who is sleeping with you for 7 years, who drives your car and eats your food and has no prospects whatsoever and is not pulling his weight, is not entirely smart, I think. I mean, things happen. You could start off with him having a job, but starting off like that because maybe you feel like, you're 30 and you need to get married and your mother is on your neck and your father as well. So because you're doing better than him, you'll just cover his shame. I don't think that's really wise. I think you could use the money to maybe get another MBA, I think. And then you can use the time, instead of lounging on your couch, to maybe get something going for him. Nothing at your level maybe, but something, anything. And that goes to a man as well. I mean, if you are filled with deficit, then maybe a done thing would be to write it down and say, at the present moment, I'm dancing between E, going F, and I'm not properly adequate to couple up with somebody else. That's the first thing. Second thing, your wants and needs in a relationship. What do you want? I was asking myself that yesterday. What do you want, Eric? What do you want? And why do you want the things that you want? Then on the second column, what is it you need, Eric? What do you need? And why do you need the things that you need? You should make that list so we discuss it on Friday. Third thing I wrote down, your want and need in a partner. What do you need and want in a partner? What do you need? They say if you don't know where you're going, any road can lead you there. So, you've been praying and saying, I need to be hit this year. But what do you want in a partner? What is it you want? Do you know what you want? And then the final question I asked myself was, Do I have the ability to meet the needs and the wants of the other person in the name of my spouse? Am I adequately able to meet their emotional needs, their physical needs? We spoke about sex on Friday and it was quite enthralling. If you didn't catch it, I've saved it, the live on Friday, and women and friends of the series were saying that, you know, they had very different, varied needs in terms of what they want their sex to be like. And so, supposing I was to couple up, can I meet the significant other adequately as it pertains to their sexual needs? What about their emotional needs? What about their financial needs? Can I show up as an asset for them, or will I be a headache? So those are some of the thoughts that have been lingering in my mind. I have so much to say around these and a lot to learn from you as well. So maybe if you care to come on Friday at 9 p.m., we can extend this conversation. Because I feel and I hear some really sad stories about people just deciding to settle. They're doing really well in their career, but when it comes to their personal relationships, now they sort of plateau and they're just like, oh, you know, men are like that. Oh, women are like that. Oh, you know, it's just, I mean, you're here going higher and higher and getting your MBA and getting that promotion and wanting this and moving from this company and the other one. But you know how men are. I don't know. I think it's a lot of malarkey, but conversation worth having. What do you think? What do you think? And if you're married, what would you say in hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight, are some of the things some of us who are yet to ascend your level of, attainment need to look out for so that we are not sorry? Good evening.